Welcome to Fairy Tale Access, where the head fairy's quest is to prove that fairy tales do exist in actual time rather than once upon a time. Together, we will unravel the heroes, young and old, who turn dreams into reality. These are the people who still believe in happily ever after. The discoveries will bend even our most cynical non-believers into believing in fairy tales. Hi, welcome to Fairy Tale Access. I am so excited to introduce you to Brent Michael Kelly, the author of Desecration of Stagwater. This is such a great series, and you're going to love the author as much as the book because it's full of puns and characters that make fantasy fiction exciting. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on. It's a great pleasure.
Oh, and you're out from the North Woods of Wisconsin by Skype.
Yep, it's a sunny, beautiful day. I'm going to go out and do some raking and then go to a Halloween party in the afternoon.
Oh, nice. I'm sure you'll fit in well at the Halloween party.
Yep, Evil Scientist, always a big hit. I'll be mostly handing out candy to trick-or-treaters at my jiu-jitsu gym and really trying to rally up the numbers for kids class. We got a lot in there, but I like to torture the kids class instructors, so we need about 5 times the number to really make those guys squirm.
Oh, that's fun. You can see that in your book. And now that I know where you're from, I can see how that played out in the story as well. This was really great. I love the character Chuggy. I love the play on words, like Desecration of Stagwater, the monsters. So tell me how you came up with the story and give us a little background on the story.
So, okay, this stretches back and wide and weird. So, back when I was in college, I had a painting instructor who said she told our class about her muse was this woman in a brown dress that came and stood over her shoulder and like watched her paint. And I was just fascinated, and in another class, my life drawing class, the instructor would play all kinds of music, stuff that I'd never heard of before. And one day it was Tom Waits, and I went to ask him about it. And he's like, yeah, it's Tom Waits, check him out. And so the next day I went and I got a CD from the record store called Blood Money, and that kind of started my Tom Waits love and fan devotion, whatever. And so I like imploring the cosmos, send me a muse like this lady in the brown dress, and I'm thinking, she's going to be a beautiful woman standing over me while I do my creative things. They sent me a foul-mouthed, drunk, gravel-voiced, like really close to Tom Waits. So it was my pal Chuggy, and I started drawing pictures of him and write little snippets of a story about him. I didn't have any idea what it was going to be, if it was like a comic or a novel or what it was. And then, so years later, it started growing into this book. And my wife lived up here in Tomahawk, girlfriend at the time, and I was living in West St. Paul in Minnesota. And so coming to see her would be like a 3.5-hour drive, and I'd just like take back roads the whole way with my voice recorder, Tom Waits playing, and telling this story about my pal Chuggy into my voice recorder as I cruise through the Wisconsin landscape and just having just the best time. And so then that kind of grew into Chuggy and the Desecration of Stagwater, and from there we had to keep going. So there are 2 more books so far about Chuggy, and a couple short stories, and many more books to come, hopefully.
That's great. He's been around for a while, so I'm sure he appreciates the new attention.
Yeah, he definitely, he's got plenty to say about everything.
I love the twisted way this story came out, and all the elements of the monsters, the drought, the water, Stagwater, the city, the people, the way it's guarded. How did you come up with that part of the story?
It took a lot of brainstorming. I mean, the main goal was like I wanted to come up with something that I had never read before. They say write what you want to read, and I wanted to read something completely original. Like I don't have anything against vampires and zombies and werewolves. I just don't have anything to say about them. And so, kind of going off and creating my own world, and the different rules for magic and how they approach that, and are there alien creatures? And there are, and let's throw in some sci-fi with these guys, the Steeljacks. And so I had this coffee table that I got at Goodwill for like $6, and then I had this big roll of just junk printer paper, just cheap stuff, and I would like roll that across the coffee table and cut it off, tape it down, and just I have a really large collection of just strange images, like whether it's like real wildlife or fantasy monsters or aliens or bizarre landscapes. So I have thousands of images I've collected over the years, and so I would like have my laptop open and just like go through those and get ideas and be writing this stuff down on this huge sheet of paper on my coffee table. There'd be sketches and stuff of what the Steeljacks are going to look like, and snippets of story that didn't make it in, and timelines and maps and all this kind of crazy stuff. And I still have all these big sheets of paper rolled up in this trunk. And someday I'm gonna get that out and just we're gonna take a big long stroll down memory lane.
That's great. I love the way that the characters meet. So you have love, you have temptation, you have treachery. And then I felt so bad at times. And then other times you just had me laughing out loud. And there's actually a lot of areas that made me really cringe, but.
Sure. Yeah. All that. I the cringing stuff, I like to make people squirm, and I like to see, I was just, trying to try my hand at, pulling at heartstrings. I don't know how, I'm pretty close to the project, so I don't know how successful a lot of that is until I hear from readers. But, so that being the first book, I think I really hit my stride. Like the second book, do everything a little better. In the third book, I'm Chuggy and the Prisoner Gods. I think is just as way out as I was likely to get, and I think I raised a pretty high bar with number 3 for Chuggy books, and number 4 is going to have to be just nuts.
Wow. I can't wait, because the first book was incredibly well done, as if you had written several others before.
I got to give credit to Kate Jones, my editor, for that. She is so talented at taking my nonsense and sitting down with me and hammering it into something that people actually want to read. So go, Kate.
I don't know. It was great. I mean, because you have Chuggy, you have Drought, you have this adorable, like, drunken guy that at first you're like, I'm going to hate him. Then you start to really like him. And then you get why he carries an anchor, kind of. So how did you mix up all those elements and come up with all the different puns, and like everything plays off of each other? It's so adorably well done. Like, it's not an adorable story, like, but it's fast paced, it's action, it's fun.
Well, a lot of that is just how much time spending with it, like with the voice recorder, and especially because like I didn't have a digital voice recorder back then. I just had tapes. So I go through and I'd spend days and days making new tapes, and then I'd be like, I got 4 new tapes. I gotta pull notes out of these. So then when you're doing that and you've got your big coffee table spread out in front of you, and you're writing the notes down out of there, and when you've got it all spread out like that in front of you, you can kind of start circling things and drawing arrows to other things, and then your editor tells you, chapter 4 would be really good if you looped it around back to this. Yes, you're brilliant, Kate.
Oh, that's great. So, did you self-publish the first book, or do you have?
No, my publisher is Omnium Gatherum, and they a couple years ago won the Horror Writers Association Specialty Press of the Year award. I published 3 Chuggy books. A collection of short stories was the most recent one, called Doomsday Furnace, and we did a novella called Cruise Roosters. And Keep Away from Psycho Joe is a young adult horror comedy set in northern Wisconsin. So yeah, I've published all my stuff with Kate at Omnium Gatherum so far, with a few short story exceptions going out to different places. But she's been really good to me. I love working with her. So yeah, she'll be getting the next Chuggy manuscript for sure.
Oh, congratulations on finding a publisher.
Well, the way it worked was I was in a writing workshop with author Jeremy C. Shipp, and it was one of these things where you're going to come out of it with a short story ready to submit and first 4 chapters of your novel. And so Kate and I kind of made friends in this workshop, and she asked me afterwards. We kind of stayed in touch and kept critiquing each other's stuff. And she asked me, like, do you want to, or are you still looking for a publisher? Like, I'm still looking for a publisher, Kate. She's like, well, I'm starting a publishing company, and I want to know if you want to be one of my first books. It's like, yes, I do. So I kind of, I took a different path than a lot of people, like just submitting, getting rejected and sending stuff out and getting rejections back until finally, the magic day. But I had a friend who was starting a company and was, she was editing my stuff long before, it was in the pipeline to even be published, So I have a pretty fortunate path for that. And she's, like I said, super talented, and I couldn't ask for a better editor for my stories.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, she must be fantastic, because the story is just so fun and well done. Even the ups and downs, and you do pull us with a lot of emotions. It was really hard to put down. I think I lost a little sleep over it.
Well, that's nice to hear. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. So how many books total do you think will be in this series?
I don't really ever want to close it. I want to keep writing about Chuggy until I'm too crazy and blind to do it anymore. So hopefully 1,000.
Oh, your fans will love that. So what about social media? How do you interact with your fans?
Oh, I've got my author Facebook page. I just started a group called Chuggy's Gulping Shed that will be a private group, because Chuggy kind of has a lot of foul mouth things to say, and some of the other books kind of get into some offensive territories, particularly Cruise Roosters. But to be able to talk about that kind of stuff, I think I would like to spare my mother from seeing it. So I made a private group, and people are welcome to join it and talk about Chuggy books and my other books and stuff. Last night we had a good thread going. I just posted some music videos in the afternoon, and people started chiming in with their own, and it was very interesting. And some videos that I'd missed by bands that I loved, and so I kind of want to do that going forward. Friday night videos. I'm in Chuggy's Guzzling Shed. Chuggy's Guzzling Shed.
Guzzling. Groping. Okay, guzzling. Well, either one kind of fits him. No, he's not too much of a groper.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope it didn't sound like groping. I said Gulping.
Gulping. Okay,
Yeah.
now I've definitely got it.
Chuggy doesn't get no inappropriate touching now. So
No, but I mean, it was great the way that you set him up with the mag,
yeah,
the witch.
yeah. Old Shola, um, she was interesting to write about. I didn't know a lot of the stuff she was going to do until we got into it, and then I'm like, oh, Shola, really? What? But there's the story poem in there, The Boy with the Wooden Face, and that kind of springs from like the first thing that I'd ever written, or the first thing I've ever gotten published anyway, was a story poem about gnomes, a gnome poem called Noem. But so that got published with a publishing company called Rebel Books out of the United Kingdom, and they put out a call for submissions for their children's anthology, and it had just happened where I had a job that I hated, and every day I was going to the park to write this story poem for my nieces Tara and Jaina, and so I'd just be sitting in the sun writing a story poem about gnomes, and they have this adventure, and a storm, they're in this tree having a party, and then the storm comes and blows the tree far away, and well, adventure ensues. And so I get this done. I'm like, I don't know what to do with it, and saw on Twitter somebody was taking exceptions for this anthology. Sent it in. They're like, yeah, we like it, I want to use it. And I was looking. That's why I went upstairs before this to go find it. My son, I think he has one in his room. I don't know where it is. Couldn't track it down. But anyway, so the story poem thing is always kind of close to my heart, and I like to put in songs and stuff like that for Chuggy to sing or whatever. And yeah, that's not the last. You haven't heard the last of my story poems. I've got ideas for more of those.
Oh, that's great. So when you're writing, what's a typical day look like, including the dog under your shirt?
Well, JP is he'll snuggle up against the belly and say hi, JP. He says hi.
He's so little. He's like a cat.
JP is a Chinese crested, and sorry to wake you up, buddy. So anymore, I have to do my writing in the morning. I have a full-time job as a graphic designer at a real estate office. I love my job, and the people there are just wonderful, and so it doesn't leave a lot of time. We have a 7-year-old son. There go those birds. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So they'll spend some time in the discipline bucket, that's for sure. So I have a full-time job and a 7-year-old son. I'm very active in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I coach his baseball team in the summer, and basically the writing has to take place in the morning before work. So, and sometimes on the weekend when I get some free time. But so what I need to be doing is I need to kick it into full gear, and I'm just tying up some loose ends and coming up with resolving a few more plotting issues before I go full steam on this. And then I'm going to be going to bed early, getting up about 4 or 5, and clacking away on these keys as hard and fast as I can until it's time to get the boy up, get him ready for school, and go to work.
Wow. All right, back to those tapes. What are on those tapes that you go back to listen to? Do you record yourself acting as Chuggy, or?
There's some of that. A lot of times it'll just be just something as simple as, Chuggy trips on this, and as he trips on a stump, falls down. As he's picking himself up, he sees something or whatever, just like a little tiny snippet. Or there are some prolonged rantings against other drivers on the road, which it's not, it sounds like road rage, but I assure you it's not. It's because when I play it back, I play it at double speed, so I can get through it faster, because there's a lot of pauses as I'm thinking about things, and but when I play it back double speed, you get through those pauses much quicker. yeah, it sounds like a chipmunk telling me little snippets of Chuggy's story, but I write those down, and then when you listen to somebody is just a chipmunk rambling and raving about other drivers, it is hilarious. And I can't really share it with anybody because some of the things that I say can never be unsaid, but mostly for my own amusement. And then there's other things like, Can You Feel It Coming in the Air Tonight was on, and in the pauses between the lyrics, I was just like doing this dramatic tale of my friend Brad, who he'd never been so drunk. You know,
Do the birds
again, for
make
an
you
audience of
crazy?
one. The birds,
Yeah.
you know, I can usually tune them out when I'm not doing an interview with people. Like right now, yeah. They're, every time they chirp, I can feel it in my feeling. But yeah,
Okay, so one of the things you said was we should talk more to aliens.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's some people that they're of the opinion that we can't talk. You know, we shouldn't be advertising our presence. What if aliens are, what if they want to take us over? What if they're hostile? What if, this and that and all these reasons not to? But really, they're not going to come closer than the moon's orbit to us because they don't want to get sick from whatever we have either. They might send some robots down to enslave us, but really, what's the worst that could happen? They can't mess things up any more than we are. I don't think.
Yeah,
Yeah, just see what happens. Maybe they're pals. They're probably pals. Let's just call them up. Get them down here.
good idea. Why not? It's always good to have new friends, right?
Yeah, and if they enslave us, we took a shot.
So give me some idea on your views of the universe because you create such a great place in this story.
The universe is just such a bizarre place, and so I mean, there's inspiration for just wild things just everywhere. You start looking at like pulsars, quasars, and like subatomic particles and what's going on down there. And I have bookmarked the scale of the universe thing. So you got the little slider, so you can go to like the level of a paramecium or up here to like a galaxy and stuff. And it's just fascinating. Like the primordial black holes that can just gobble up a giant star. And like, that's amazing, terrifying. There's the things like gamma bursts that'll happen for no reason. And there's really nothing you can do about it. It's just a huge death ray coming at you from like a quasar. Nowhere to go, nothing to do except for just like you just watch it. Oh, here it comes. It sure is green. Thought it'd be blue. Yeah, that was a delicious supper the other night, by the way. See ya.
That's so funny. Does your wife read the books?
Yeah, she does. She's more of a high fantasy romance kind of reader. So stuff where Chuggy's stepping on eyeballs or things like that. It's not really her cup of tea, but she actually says she enjoyed some of them, and I think she really liked Keep Away from Psycho Joe because it wasn't as blood and guts and swearing as the other ones. And one of the things, this kind of makes her roll her eyes, but there are things in here like in Psycho Joe where our main character Ruby is drawing these. He draws these cartoons in his notebook, which he calls the Encyclopedia Stupidica, and he's got entries in there about ancient Greece, and because he's trying to mess with his history instructor. So he's just coming out writing this thing by himself. It's like ancient Greece. Nothing of interest happened in ancient Greece, which is the only thing of interest about it. No wars were fought or diseases cured. Nobody made art or contributed to science. They just sat around all day, sucking at everything, wishing they had something to talk about. And many a conquering army just saw them and went around because they felt so bad for the Greeks. And stuff like that, and kind of self-indulgent little jokes that I put in there. My wife kind of rolls her eyes a little bit, but yeah, she she seems to like a lot of my stories.
Yeah, they're great. I loved it. I mean, yeah, so typically drunken guys, not so much, but he's such a lovable, in-depth character. There's so much that you learn about him along the way that it just drags you deeper into the story and you want more and more, which
So
is,
one of the things to that point is in Chuggy number 3, I got in touch, Prisoner Gods. I got in touch with an artist that my wife and I went to college with named David Starr, and I'm like, I got to get some illustrations in there, and he came up with some just crazy awesome. This is Squip. She's a Bulu, and so David Starr just hit some home runs on these illustrations, and I think that they really go a long ways towards pulling the reader into the story more. So I can't find it anyway.
well, I'm excited to see it.
I love including illustrations in my stories, and well, like Cruise Roosters has all these. I made up these fake ads. This happens in the future, so I want it, and it's a lot of product placement happening throughout the whole book. So there's like all these fake ads for products that exist down the line that are just awful. Jim Reaper's real deal animal poison, rats, cats, Bowsers, and bugs. Send them creepers to meet the Reaper. And so it was fun to have a graphic design project to add in with Cruise Roosters. And then there's the crappy stick figure sketches in Psycho Joe. I love to include illustrations. I think
It really helps the story come to life.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Well, thank you for sharing so much about what you do and giving us a little insight into how to create these fantastic worlds and really rich characters. I had so much fun reading it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
All right. Until next time, keep asking questions. And if you want to have a lot of fun, be a little scared and cringe, Desecration of Stagwater and any of the books in this series that include Chuggy is the best place to be.